You're lying in bed at 2 a.m. Can't sleep. So you open your gallery and start scrolling old photos. A blurry sunset from 3 months ago. A screenshot of a text that made you smile. A video of your friends laughing about nothing. And suddenly, your chest feels warm. You think, damn, life is beautiful. You're walking to class. It's raining lightly. You put on your headphones and play that one song. You know the one. And suddenly, the boring walk feels like a movie montage. You walk slower. You notice the wet leaves. You think, this is gonna be a core memory. You're at a cafe alone. You ordered your usual. You pull out a notebook or just stare out the window. And instead of feeling lonely, you feel main character energy. Like someone's watching you from afar and thinking, that person has their life together. You don't. But for this moment, it feels like you do. You take a photo of your coffee on a rainy morning, not to post it, just to keep it. Because something about the way the light hits the cup feels meaningful. Like if you don't capture it, you'll lose something. You're standing in your kitchen at 11 p.m. making tea. But instead of just boiling water, you light a candle. You put the mug down slowly. You notice the steam rising. And for no reason at all, you just feel present. You do all of this. And then late at night, you wonder, why do I do this? Why do I turn everything into a movie? Here's the truth nobody told you. You're not being dramatic. You're not fake. You're not trying too hard. You're just someone whose brain refuses to let life feel ordinary. This behavior, this tendency to romanticize your life, it's not a personality quirk. It's a psychological strategy, and it's been keeping you afloat longer than you realize. Let's look at when this really shows up. It's not when life is exciting. It's not when things are going perfectly. It usually shows up in the in-between moments. The quiet ones. The ones where if you weren't paying attention, you'd just be existing. You romanticize your morning routine because the alternative is facing how repetitive it is. You romanticize your solitude because the alternative is feeling lonely. You romanticize the small things because the big things, the ones you were promised, would make life meaningful, haven't shown up yet. Here's what's really going on underneath. Psychologists have a concept called meaning making. It's the brain's natural drive to turn experiences into something that fits a narrative. Humans don't just live. We need to feel like our lives are going somewhere. Like they add up to something. But here's the problem your generation inherited. You were raised on stories, movies, shows, social media, all of it. Taught you what life should look like. The montages, the sunsets, the moments where everything clicks and you feel like this is it. Then real life showed up. And real life isn't scored. Real life doesn't have a director. Real life is just flat sometimes, ordinary, repetitive. So your brain did something clever. It started adding the music itself. This is where the romanticizing comes from. When you put on a playlist to walk through the city at night, you're not just listening to music. You're giving the moment a feeling it wouldn't have otherwise. When you notice the light hitting your wall at 4 p.m. and feel something warm in your chest, you're not being sentimental. You're stealing meaning from a moment that otherwise would have passed unnoticed. When you save a voicemail just because of how their voice sounded that day. When you keep a movie ticket stub tucked inside a book. When you pause a conversation in your head and think, I want to remember this forever. Your brain figured out that if life isn't going to hand you beautiful moments, you can find them. You can frame them. You can hold on to them. You can treat a quiet evening like it matters. And in doing so, it does matter. But there's another layer here, one that's harder to see. The truth is, romanticizing your life is also a way of protecting yourself from something. Think about what you're not doing when you're lost in these moments. You're not thinking about the future you can't control. You're not worrying about the career that isn't taking off. You're not comparing yourself to everyone else's highlight reel. You're not facing the quiet dread that maybe life is supposed to feel bigger than this. Romanticizing is a kind of anchor. It pulls you into the present. It gives you something to hold on to when everything else feels uncertain. And for your generation, the one that inherited economic instability, climate anxiety, a fractured social world, and 1,000 other things no one prepared you for, that anchor isn't a luxury. It's survival. You romanticize because the alternative is feeling the weight of everything you can't fix. But here's the part nobody warns you about. The same thing that makes life beautiful also makes it hurt more. Because when you're someone who notices the small things, you also feel everything deeper. The good hits harder, but the bad, it stays longer. You romanticize people, so when they leave, it's not just a goodbye. It's a whole chapter closing. You romanticize places, so when you move, it's not just a new address. It's leaving a version of yourself behind. You romanticize your own life, so when things fall apart, it doesn't just feel bad. It feels like you lost something you were supposed to keep. And your brain knows this. It knows the risk, but it still lets you romanticize, because the cost of not feeling at all is worse. As you get older, something shifts. Not the romanticizing itself. That part of you doesn't go away. But what you choose to romanticize starts to change. When you're younger, you romanticize the future, the life you'll have, the person you'll become, the moments waiting for you. Then somewhere along the way, usually after life has handed you a few things you didn't expect, you start romanticizing something else. The present, the ordinary, the quiet Tuesday that somehow feels like enough. You stop waiting for the music to swell. You start hearing it in the background of a regular afternoon. You stop looking for the big cinematic moment. You realize you're already in one. It just looks like a normal day. This is the evolution nobody talks about. The romanticizing doesn't fade. It deepens. It becomes less about escaping into a fantasy and more about recognizing that this, right here, steam rising from your mug, candle flickering on the counter, this is what you were looking for. It always was. That blurry sunset in your gallery, that was real. That rainy walk with headphones, that was real. That cafe moment where you felt like the main character, that was real. You weren't pretending. You were noticing. So here's where we land. You romanticize everything because you feel everything. Because you refuse to let life pass by unnoticed. Because somewhere inside you, there's a quiet insistence that your days should mean something, even if you can't always explain what. You romanticize because you're tender, because you're paying attention, because you're still willing to find beauty in a world that doesn't always make it easy. And no, this doesn't need to be fixed. It doesn't need to be grown out of. It doesn't need to be tempered or managed or turned down. It just needs to be understood for what it is. A way of surviving, a way of coping, a way of saying, I was here. I noticed. This mattered to me. The steam rises. The light hits the wall. The song swells quietly in your headphones. And for a moment, everything feels like it means something. That's not you being dramatic. That's you being human.